Who's missing that World Cup? Hey, who's missing the World Cup? My God. World Cup. We had the World Cup of many a generation. And then the Carabao Cup said, hold my beer. We'll give you something to shout about. I've had to move angles. Hope I don't confuse you too much. That is me in the background before you lot say I'm getting robbed or burgled. So don't call the police or press any panic alarms. Ladies and gentlemen, you're very welcome to the first real post-match carnage of the start of the second part of the season, if you know what I mean. We've done a couple of pre-season friendlies, but today was serious, semi-serious. We'll ask the lads what they think. We'll get your opinions as well, what you guys think of the game today. How much did it mean to you guys today? How do you feel today? We'll have everything covered for you. But first and foremost, I must ask you to like the stream right now. I know a little bit late, apologies. I was watching the draw. No, I wasn't. Bollocks. Was I watching the draw? Just a few technical issues, as is normal. Let's get some comments up. What's up with the stream? What's up with the stream, man? What's up with the stream? We're here. I saw a few Klopp out shouts in the chat as well. Finished club. There you go. Finished club. Washed players. Oh, that's the same fella. Yeah. Zizi says we can't press anymore. There's no legs in the midfield. The new forwards can't press with Bobby Mane's intelligence. Yeah, no, I get that. There's some good points in there amongst the anger and frustration. We'll get onto that. Imran K says, smash the likes. You'll never walk alone. You'll never walk alone, I tell you. I may do streams now and again alone if these guys ever flop on me, but you'll never walk alone. Never walk alone. Omar, Cav, how you doing, lads? How you, Omar? What was your prediction? I can't remember now. Did we do a prediction?
Oh, no, we didn't do a prediction, but man,
how you feeling?
I'm feeling all right, to be fair. Like I'm not like the chat. Well, not all the chat, but you know when Liverpool lose, no matter what, it could be the most important game in the world. Fair enough, but it could be a game that doesn't really matter. The overreaction is going to be insane, which I kind of find quite funny. But yeah, man, City away. It was always going to be tough. I thought, man, like for the neutral, if I was looking at it as a neutral, like what a game to watch, end to end. The quality was on show. It was two teams going toe to toe, and City probably should have scored a few more goals. We were clinical. We could have scored a few more goals. So hey, it is what it is. Our defense of the Carabooty is over. Onto the Prem, onto Boxing Day.
I have a feeling. I mean, I don't know. I have a feeling Cav's view on proceedings may be slightly different or less smiley and happy. I don't know. All right, Cav, how you doing and how are you feeling?
Yeah, let's just have another break, shall we? Do you know what? I'm in the full festive spirit now. You know, I'm feeling good, and I enjoyed the World Cup, and I was,
So was our defense, man.
And I was wondering, I was like, why is life so good at the minute? And then I realized it's because there's not that uncontrollable thing that just controls every emotion and pulls on my heartstrings. And that's Liverpool, I can't control it, and it affects my mood. It affects, my day to day and all sorts. So I'm really pleased that football's back. We've been thrown an absolute, spectacle. And I'm disappointed. I said to you before we come on, I really thought this was a competition that we had a chance of winning if we'd have got past this round. And I was really taking it seriously. And we're going to come in onto the game and break it all down. I'm just disappointed we're out. It is really what I think about it, to be honest.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you. I'm disappointed that we're out as well. Especially when you're a holder of a trophy that you've just been knocked out. But it gives it that bit of extra sour taste to it. Then you add that it's Man City. That adds another little bit of sour taste to it. And then you look at their celebrations at full time. And now Haaland giving it all the fist pumps and the weird facial expressions that he was giving everyone else. Like, we done it. Like, what have you done, mate? But at the end of the day, they go through to the next round. I said something along the lines of, if we lose, we say we have bigger things to deal with, i.e., Champions League spot and that magnificent, massive tie with Real Madrid on the horizon. And if we win, we continue. We say, yeah, the feel good factor is starting again. But I think we all agree. We will all agree, and even every man in the chat, if we win against Aston Villa on Boxing Day, there won't be too much bad, ill, frustration feeling, I think, because that's crucial now. If this is followed up with not 3 points against Villa, then I think the rage and frustration is probably justified.
Yeah, I completely agree. It takes me back to the Community Shield final where we won, and we were like, "Oh, amazing!" And then we go to Fulham and look absolutely awful. So, hey, for me, this game, while I wanted to win it, while it hurts as defenders of the cup to lose it, like again, you've got to take into consideration that the midfield we've pitted against their number one choice midfield. The fact that we've just been thrown into a game away at City, Haaland and De Bruyne are looking lethal. Sometimes you lose games to teams that are just absolutely quality. But yeah, for me, it's all about the Aston Villa away game. It's how we play there. So look, there's bigger games to lose. I'm not going to overreact. But come Aston Villa, if we perform like that, if we get carved open like that, then I'll start to ask questions. Hopefully Van Dijk comes back in. I don't know where Trent is, but hopefully he comes back in. And then we get the likes of Fabinho maybe back in, have a bit more of a solid field to midfield. Mm-hmm. And defensively, we might look completely different. So it's City away. They were chomping at the bit to get out. They were. And fair play, man. Like Haaland, like he's been locked away. De Bruyne has come off a depressing time at the World Cup. So has Gundogan. Rodri the same. Mahrez hasn't been playing. Cole Palmer looks a good player. So their front six especially looked up for it, and that whole game really showed it. So yeah, fair play to City, but I'm not going to overreact at this moment in time.
Look, Sean says no one can tell me we have to be happy after that. No one can tell you anything, my friend. We're not happy. We're not happy we lost at all. No one's happy. No one can tell you anything. You say what you want to say. You feel how you want to feel. But
if Swedish Scouser is gonna have something to say to me, at least have the decency to spell my name right. Do you know what I mean?
What did he say? Oh,
look, my name's on the screen. Dummy.
Okay, but he's begging though, isn't it? So he says, "Oh my, stop it! I beg." So if he's begging, then show some mercy. He's begging. So he's saying, "Oh my, stop it! I beg." So he's begging you. We went from quad to not even competing. We are finished, sadly. Look, if he thinks we're finished and he believes that in his heart of hearts, then listen, you don't need to respond and react to that. That's how each individual feels. Look, there's frustration, and I understand parts of it. I want to start off with the teams then, I guess, because Omar mentioned the midfield, and I thought, Cav, if you can bring up the team, Ohms, if you can bring up the lineup. So I'm going to be very honest, and I'm not going to do one of those after the Lord Mayor show and hindsight and all of that. I looked at that team and I didn't understand a couple of things, but obviously we're not privy to information on a couple of things. So therefore, you have to bite your tongue and then just speculate, right? And guess. So, okay, Bobby Firmino, we know, is out with an injury. I didn't understand the Trent scenario. Hasn't played, been normal training. Everything's seemingly fine in terms of fitness. Just not around. I could make a case of, Bejitic as well. Like if Henderson and Fabinho are back, Fabinho hasn't played much at all. Is this the game to throw Bejitic in there? But then you could argue, when are you going to throw him in there if you're not going to throw him in terms of in this situation and see what he's made of? I'm not going to just totally stay on Bejitic, But as a midfield, Elliot, Vegetic, and Thiago, it was boys against men, literally out there. Obviously, Thiago aside, throwing Carvalho as well, you could see the difference in physicality, the difference in under the ball pressure, a bit of everything. But it's understandable. I just didn't think why they were thrown in like this all together. Don't know what your thoughts were. I didn't think it was going to bode well.
Yeah, well, just before we speak about the lineup, I just want to highlight the point that regardless of the competition or time of year or player availability, Liverpool versus Manchester City is always a tactical masterclass. Like Pep versus Guardiola, the two teams play football the right way. They try get it down, they try pass.
Just before, sorry, Cav, can someone confirm this? Is that true, or is TT just playing games with us? Because if that's true, then obviously everything that I've said, I look like a twat, and I'll take back. But as Klopp come out and said that, sorry, Cav, go ahead.
Yeah, so I was just highlighting the fact that these games, they're always end to end. Both teams trying to win it, regardless of the scoreline, who's ahead. It's 90 minutes of action-packed football usually, right? So then we're hoping that, in this unique situation whereby we've had this long break, some players have been away playing football and match fit and raring ready to go. Others, have had a month off and trying to find fitness still, maybe played minutes in preseason games. So, who's available and stuff's all kind of thrown up in the air a bit. And you're actually in the build up to the game, certainly from my point of view, I'm kind of hoping that a lot of Man City players are out. You know that Haaland's, not gone to the World Cup. He's going to be there and he'll probably play. Same with Mahrez. De Bruyne come back early and all of this and that, right? And they've still got guys that are out. So you're kind of hoping for a bit of a leg up in some respects by them having players out. But when our lineup come out, the Trent one was the baffling one. Now, if he's injured, obviously we've not seen the post match because we're on here. But if Trent's injured, fine, that justifies it. But it didn't quite make sense.
No, apparently, it's made up quote. Okay. Unless we get some confirmation from some other, I think someone's just trolling.
Okay, well, in which case it's very bizarre because, there's guys that were there at the World Cup, like Henderson, like Fabinho, that are back and were playing minutes today. So it doesn't quite make sense why Trent, a guy who didn't play much football at the World Cup, isn't even in the squad, So it remains to be seen what the situation was there. The Firmino one did frustrate me. I've got to be honest. The guy didn't go to the World Cup. Seemingly fit, throughout all of the mid-season that we had and played in the games, our friendlies that we played, and then right before this game, he's not even in the squad, and it's just frustrating because it seems to happen to us, it's so much, especially this season, whereby we do these lineups and these predictions and we try and understand, how the game's going to go, and then suddenly, right on the eve of the game, one of your key men's out, and it just gets you a bit wound up at times. And it makes a lot of fans question what's actually going on in training and, in the build-up and all of this. Is our preparation right? And all of them kind of things, we start to speculate as to why we can't keep these guys fit, So him being out is quite frustrating. And then, yeah, like you say, then it's a question mark over, do you play Bajcetic instead of Fabinho, who's there? Do you shift around the formation and move away from the 4-3-3 and what have you? But this lineup for me, the back four pretty much picked itself. I think we knew the centre-back pairing was going to be Joel and Gomez because they'd played in the mid-season games, didn't they? And it looked like that was an obvious thing to do.
Shall I tell you what was frustrating for me in a kind of way? The two players that I'm going to mention, and everyone's going to kick up a fuss about them, but they are employed by us. We pay their wages and they owe us big time. And I'm going to say it. Not often I talk about players owing us because I think it's harsh sometimes, to say that about a player who they all give us 100% and everything and all that kind of thing. Ox and Naby Keita have been fit, haven't played any football, have been training. I wanted them more involved, lads. I don't know what you two think about that. I didn't want the spotlight and then the inevitable blame to go on Elliot and Vegetic and Carvalho as such. I wanted them more to be involved. Yeah, no problem. But I thought if you two senior players are fully fit, and you're playing for your futures in terms of away from the club. I'm not saying at the club. I wanted them, and I thought Ox showed much more than Naby, but I wanted them more involved. That's the only selection headache dilemma I could have asked for. The rest, I agree with you. There's not a lot he could have changed or done. Or Ohms, are you of the opinion that, or I'll stick with Cav now, and then I'll come back to Ohms in a minute. I'll stick with you. Or are you of the opinion that no, they haven't got a future at the club? Just leave them. And if we need them in an emergency, then let's look to the future, win, lose, or draw. At least we know what Carvalho, Elliott, and Bejitic can do or can't do, as the case was today.
Yeah, you know what? There's a very strong argument for playing Ox in this game, maybe ahead of Carvalho, because he's, I know he's not reliable, but he is an experienced player. He's played in this fixture a few times now, so he knows how to handle the occasion. And that might have really helped us out. But I've got to be honest, I go into these games. I know Ox and Naby are available, and we perhaps should use them. It's probably not smart to disregard them, but I kind of do. I'm kind of looking to the future now. I know it's a cup tie and it's knockout competition, but I'm happy with Carvalho and Bečić being in there out of the options that we have, because they are the future. Whether their future is at Liverpool, we'll see by them playing in these games. And we can assess how they are off the back of these games. But like I say, that might not be the right decision to make, because Ox maybe could have contributed. Naby the same. He maybe could have done quite well. They've had a month to get fit. Play in these mid-season games and get themselves sharp and training and all of this stuff. So they really should be ready for this fixture. But I understand as to why he went with those two young lads. And then look, Harvey Elliott's in there and Thiago's in there on merit, really, aren't they? They've played well this season. A lot of people singing Harvey Elliott's praises. And then, the rest of the team kind of picks itself, to be totally honest with you. The other boys are either injured or they're not quite ready after their exploits at the World Cup.
The only person I trust, No Beats, is in the building. He says Trent was ill, said Klopp. So all you other trolls, as Omar would say, hold that.
Probably would.
I'm gonna come back to you, but first we've got Swedish Scouser with a super chat. He says, Omar, look at that, he's spelled it absolutely spot on. He says, I respect your opinion. Big up everyone. Thank you very much for the super chat. He doesn't need that. Yeah, exactly. He doesn't. Yeah, exactly. He doesn't need that. You didn't need that to do that with him. Holmes, you're spot on. They looked really up for it, really geared up for it. Far more strength than many people imagined. Far more strength than I guess maybe we thought. I didn't. I knew they're going to bring back some big guns. Kind of played everyone really. First choice midfield, just Foden for Mahrez, I guess, and a couple of one fullback that doesn't play often. We could have been blown away in that start. What is it? We just can't compete with them when they start off like that at their ground. What do we need to do differently next time then? Or maybe, but no, have we been there? No, we're going to go there again in the League Cup, in the league. That start, I hate it. I really hate it. Why is it a case of, the midfield overpowered us and we were mismatch of a team? Or is there something different?
I think the simple answer is we just weren't as up for it as they were. And I think sometimes that's what it can come down to. Like, if you start slow away anywhere, let alone away at City, like City away is the worst place you can start 95%. You've got to be 100%. So if you're 5% off and they're on it 100%, then they will come wave after wave at you. And it probably took us 15 to 20 minutes to sort of match them for that tempo. So for me, it was just lacking in tempo. I thought actually, when you look at the two teams, maybe except for in midfield, they were fairly well balanced. But then, we were just getting hounded out in midfield. I think I just read a few quotes from Klopp. He just said the first 15 minutes, their midfield were all over our midfield, and he's exactly right. I think we were impatient and just we weren't thinking with our passes. One thing you do away at City, if you're under the cosh, you don't try under pressure from 2-3 people under pressure in the corner to try and pass out the back. You hit the channels and you get up the pitch again. You get out of those first 15, 20 minutes at 0-0 and then reset from there. But then also a lack of composure on the ball and just a lack of decision making. We were forcing balls too much into their midfield when really
which is their strength.
Which
is their absolute strength. I thought Rodri was back to his bastard best. Like, he had an absolute, not a shit show in the World Cup, but you know, he's playing at the back, whatever. I thought he was absolutely the strongest player on the pitch. He was he was holding off 2-3 players, throwing us around, bullying us. Gundogan and Thiago I really enjoyed watching. Thiago was magnificent for us. Thiago was the only one who was showing much composure. Cav, I know Omar's saying that you've got to hit the channels, clear your lines and all of that. We just don't play like that, and neither do they. And it made for a fucking frantic but good game of football. Like, it was literally, if we could break that pass with a couple of passes, that's why the absence of Trent is hurting me even more. Because if we could have broken the press 1 or 2 times, then Mo and Nunez were off on their bike, and it seemingly ended up 2 against 2 every time. We did put about 1 or 2 passes together. That was a frustrating, wasn't it, bit?
Yeah, and you know what? I'm a bit torn on this because part of me feels like, has a lot of admiration for Klopp and the coaching team for us to remain consistent with our approach in these games. You know, have that arrogance. You know, we play our way regardless of where we are and who we're playing against, and we will go about our business and try and assert our dominance. I do feel like at times though, there are games where you maybe just need to relax that a little bit, and I do feel like Manchester City away is going to be one of the toughest fixtures you're going to have in a season. I wouldn't be so upset if Klopp maybe just changed the approach slightly, and especially the first sort of 20 minutes, you know, away at Manchester City. Because look, we know what Man City do now. They play slightly different with Haaland, but one thing that Pep always does against Liverpool is flood the midfield, and today he did it by playing Rico Lewis at right back. But really, he was a midfielder. And then what was happening is Kevin De Bruyne was dropping into them sort of channels on the right and was able to sort of put the crosses in that we all come to expect from him. So the players were sort of interchanging, trying to overload the midfield. What they're also exceptional at, Manchester City, is in their press, they set traps. They back you into a corner. So quite often Carvalho would pass the ball out to a centre back, go to the fullback. And you've seen so often in the first 20 minutes, you know, Robertson looking for a pass. You know, he always looks for the one down the line. And if the player's not there, it's a bit of a hopeful ball just to get it away. But they back you into a corner where you feel like you've got no option other than just to hoof it up the pitch. And then they get it back and they recycle it. Liverpool's press is slightly different because we sort of press at pace, you know, and it's a bit more frantic. And often individuals are running, you know, out to try and win the ball. And there's not really them people that are plugging the passing lines and the gaps. Man City are fantastic at it. And in that first sort of 20 minutes, I thought we were going to get blown away because we looked like we were trying to play out. And as much as I admire that, you know, at times Robbo and Matip, there was no midfield to support them and lay the ball off to. They weren't intricate enough. So they had to just fire a ball into the forwards. And the passes weren't good enough, to be quite honest. And they were able to just get it and come back at us. And like I say, they were exploiting the spaces that they wanted to. And although we had our own chances, I think Manchester City were the better team. I think we got chances purely because on occasion we did manage to find a couple of passes and work our way out. And then with a high line and Nunez trying to exploit that, you're always going to have a chance. So I'm a bit torn on it, like I say, because I admire the approach and I admire the bravery to try and play out against this Manchester City team. But at the same time, we could quite easily be 2 or 3 goals down in the first 20 minutes, you know, trying that style of play.
I like this comment from Sam Thander. He says, this game was Community Shield, but reversed. Haaland missed open net that game, but Nunez scored. This game, Nunez missed chances, but Haaland scored. So hopefully our league form reverses too. But it's true. It very much was like the Charity Shield game where we blitzed them and sort of overpowered them and scored some good goals. And they missed a lot of chances, Ohms. But we got into the first goal. And yeah, Joe Gomez. Too many times we're coming on shows saying Joe could have done better. Fell asleep, positional, didn't know where the defender was, flat-footed. It was Joe Gomez, wasn't it, Holmes? Or are you crediting the pass and the finish, which of course were very good?
No, I'm with you. I think Joe Gomez, like the team was sort of reacting, not proacting. He was just caught on his heels. Him and Haaland, polar opposites, right? Gomez just there waiting for the ball. Haaland literally running at that ball, attacking that ball, and getting in front of Gomez. It's great centre forward play, but yes, it reminded me a bit of when Aguero scored when at the near post against us a few seasons ago when
Lovren, wasn't it?
Lovren was caught just.
That was, if you could ever describe Lovren-esque, if you said Lovren-esque and someone said, what the F does Lovren-esque mean? You'd show them that. And you'd say, that's what Lovren-esque means. Put it into the dictionary. That's Lovren-esque. File it under Lovren-esque.
I think just on Gomez everywhere around the pitch with the ball in the box, when he was dragged out wide, when he wanted to play offside, when he didn't want to play offside, it was just all over the place. And I agree, we keep asking the questions of Gomez, but if he doesn't step it up from now until the end of the season, then does he really have a future at this club? Because Nat Phillips came on and looked better than him, and that really shouldn't be happening.
Mate, we will get on to Nat Phillips in a little while because I don't believe they had many clear-cut chances after he came. All the chances were while Joe was at centre-back. That's all I'm going to say. Cav, we've defended him to the hill. We will continue to support him because he plays in red. There's a difference between support and then actually believing that he's going to get back to the level that we need and require urgently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course we're going to support him. He plays for Liverpool, and on top of that, he's a great guy, And I know, a lot of fans don't care about that, but me personally, I do.
We do care. Of course,
when I see a player is really humble and he works hard and he tries hard, I'll only criticize him so much because the criticism should be labelled at the stuff that happens in the game. But unfortunately,
when Pixelate Pigeon is saying something like this, and we know Pixelate Pigeon is one of the more rational, logical, sensible people in the chat, he's saying Joe gets sucked up the pitch far too easily, and I speak as a big supporter of him. And even if you're not, Pixelate Pigeon never has a toxic way of talking about our players. That's when you know something's up.
Yeah, but how many times have we kind of spoke on Joe Gomez? You've just mentioned it, too often, unfortunately. And we assessed him the other week and we said, what's he bad at? What's not quite right? And we said, look, I think we all agreed he's got all the attributes to be a very good centre-back. But it's his concentration at times, it's split minute decision making. And look, what I'll highlight today is Matip and Joe Gomez haven't played together a whole lot. That's not a partnership that's, although they've both been at the club a long time, they're not experienced together in the partnership. So there is going to be a slight misunderstanding in these games, especially against Manchester City, where, let's face it, their players are experts in exploiting spaces between, defenders and fullbacks and all of this kind of stuff, right? But for me, we compared him to Khanage the other day and we said, what's the difference between the two? And we said, they've both got really strong attributes, but Khanage goes out and just deals with situations. If he sees a ball being put into an area, he'll read it and he'll just deal with it. And Gomez doesn't. He kind of, looks at it a bit longer and trying to assess the situation. And if he can afford to not, throw himself into something, he will. He'll just wait for the ball to reach him and kind of thing. And today was the perfect example because let's face it, it's Kevin De Bruyne out on the left wing. The guy isn't looking to skip by people. He's looking to create a yard of space and whip a ball in. Like, come on, are you telling me you can't get on your toes and read that passage of play? They play with Haaland up top now. You've got one central forward to defend. Mahrez was up there, but he doesn't really get across, a defender and try and get, above a defender and a header or anything like that. He flounders around at the back stick or outside the box. All you had to deal with was Haaland, and all you had to do was read the cross coming in. And when he's seen that it was coming front post, he shouldn't have waited. He shouldn't have waited. He should have just gone and dealt with it. Forget where Haaland is. Forget where anyone is. It's you and the ball. Just go put your foot through it and get it away. But he doesn't. And it's these decisions he makes in these moments where we sit here and we go, he just doesn't look like he's concentrating. He just doesn't look like he's on his toes. And it's the same thing we say about him all the time. But unfortunately, they're in crucial areas, and it's really costing us at times.
The Turkey Fish 15, love these names. Says Joe was great for us. Him and VVD were great, but he's dropped off so much. He's not 100% done. But if we want to progress the side, he needs to go. Ibu has shown what style of centre back we need. Joe isn't it? Ohms, I know you're another fan overall, and you don't really speak ill of players and whatnot. But sometimes the brutal honesty and truth hurts, and it hurts to speak like this the way we're speaking of Joe Gomez. Everything Cav says about him is spot on in terms of the type of human being he is. And on this channel, I mean, like, some people are saying we don't give a shit what he is like, whatever. Well, you're on the wrong channel, mate. We're not about that life. We do care what the human side and element. It's not, if he's shit, we talk him and we cuss him and we throw him in the middle of the road and leave him there. We respect what he's done for us. He's been magnificent for us. Magnificent. He was a crucial part, a vital part. Some would say as good as Virgil in that league-winning season, and the Champions League run. So, but he's playing like a fourth choice stroke, dare I say it, fifth choice, because Nat Phillip comes on and performs like a centre-back, like someone that's trying to impress. Whereas Joe Gomez, like Cav says, is he overthinking it? Does he know he's fourth choice now?
It's hard to tell because, like, I actually feel like when he went to right back, he was all right, but I don't want to see him at right back. I don't want to see For me, Joe Gomez is a centre back. I know he can do a decent job at right back, but you've got Trent there, you've got Calvin Ramsey there, James Milner can put in decent performances at right back. We're fine at right back. At centre back, right, we've got Virgil, Khanage, Matip there. Three guys who, for the last 2 seasons now, put in consistently great performances. And then Gomez has been on and off. I mean, I will always support him, but he has to turn it on sooner rather than later because, look, I like Nat Phillips as a guy. I think he's given his all for the club. I don't think he has a future really at the club in terms of a long-term future. I don't think he is a Liverpool defender. Doesn't mean he's a bad defender. I just don't think he's a defender for a high line. Or
people always confuse those statements. You're absolutely spot on. If he's not the right defender for us, doesn't mean, oh my God, we've slaughtered him and cussed him. It's like we play a very specific way and far, far more talented. And I think it's fair to say that far more talented centre-backs would struggle the line and the way we try to play. But this is a worry. Solin says Joe is gradually becoming Dejan number 2. Look, we won't linger too much on, it is what it is. He can see he's a mistake from him, but great cross. Kevin De Bruyne was magnificent, the absolute bastard. He was, my God. They're gonna run him down to the ground. Like, did you see him at the end? He could barely breathe. But we'll get onto that. We go up the other end and we score a wonderfully constructed goal, Cav. It's that man, Joel Matip again. What an elegant footballer. What an elegant man. What everything about him when he's striding through. And I know we've spoken about sort of the way we play, but I thought it was brave. And I did like that. We grew back into the game a little bit through the braveness of Thiago. And then Matip finds that little ball into James Milner, who finds himself in a bit of pocket of space in the penalty box. Manages to pick out Carvalho, who scored a very similar goal for Fulham against Man City in the FA Cup last season. And it was a very similar goal like that. I want to see Carvalho more in those positions as opposed to trying to hold off bigger, stronger fullbacks in the wide left like Diaz can and Jota can. I think we need to find his position. We'll maybe go on to that, but very well constructed goal, and suddenly we're back in it.
Yeah, and look, it's deja vu, isn't it? You know, we just spoke about Gomez, and here we are talking about Matip creating a bit of chaos, and and leading to a goal. Yeah, look, in that half, like I said, we kind of the first half of the half, if you like, we sort of been dominated slightly. I think after the goal that Man City scored, they not sat back, but they took the foot off the press slightly, and we were then able to sort of move the ball about a bit better. Thiago's getting on it more, linking it with Elliot a bit better, and everybody else. And the goal comes from Matip just bringing the ball out, and stepping into not even the midfield, almost like the attacking, position near the 18-yard box as he does. And what's so good when he does that is he draws players to him.
Just going to say that, literally that. You're right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And Man City got every man back. If you look at the closest man to Matip before he lays the ball off, it's actually Haaland. But Haaland's not interested in tackling. He's just doing that just to make out he's working for the team. He's not. He has no interest in tackling or pressing. He just wants to, conserve his energy for scoring goals in the box. So he does this half press, if you like. But through Haaland being there and pressing, everyone else is kind of thinking he's going to tackle, and all the Man City players are kind of near him, but not really challenging. And Matip just drives into the space, buys his time like he always does. And he just picks his head up and plays a really good ball into Milner, who finds himself in the 18-yard box. And then again, it's another good pass rolled into Carvalho, who kind of hits across it. It kind of rolls into the back of the net. I actually thought, there weren't enough on it to go in. So quite surprised when it did. But like you say, that's what Carvalho perhaps needs to do in that position, is just get himself in the box. It's very obvious how Salah's going to play. He's going to try and get on the ball and attack down that right side, cutting in and stuff. Nunez is a bit all over the place, but at times we do leave ourselves a bit short, trying to get men in the box, or having that guy that just lingers around the penalty box, Frank Lampard-esque, where he's not the main aim, but he's always just there in the right spot. So it was a really good finish, and much needed, to be honest. It kind of shown that we had a bit of firepower in the game, because we had just been, put to the sword slightly for 20 odd minutes. And from that point on, we started to play really well. And I think certainly for me, I started to look at us then going, okay, no, we've got a chance in this game. It's the first point in which I thought, now Liverpool, if they can get the ball passing around and get going, there is goals here for us. So a really, really well constructed goal, and good for Carvalho, because he needs that little confidence boost. I thought prior to that goal, actually, he was trying his best, but he looked a yard off it. He looked a bit weak, dare I say, and I was really a bit concerned about how we would go on in the game. But yeah, good goal for him and the team at the time.
I think you're right. He looked a bit weak, and I think that's just a physical age, growing strength. He get all of that, because there's a super chat that sort of kind of, maybe we can touch on Holmes, like Elliot is talented, Ash says, but has no physical attributes. I think Elliot's getting stronger, and he will continue to get stronger. Bejitic, Elliot, and Carvalho, if you've got them in the same team, you're kind of asking for trouble, guys. There's no getting away from it. If you're going to put them in the three, if they're going to be three of your, I don't know, front 4-6, expect to be overpowered, especially when you've got power and technique like Gundogan, Kevin De Bruyne, and Rodri have. I mean, those three are absolute specimens. Gundogan, not so much, but technically he's a specimen. And the other two are technically and physically. So it's no slight, it's no shame. There's no writing them off. They're all young. They're all bloody under 20, right? All of them. I think they're all under 20, aren't they? They're not even grown physically yet. So they're not to blame, but it's kind of expected, right? They're not Fabinho, Henderson, who, if that happened to a Fabinho, Henderson, and Thiago midfield, we would have been up in arms and really slaughtering those guys, because you shouldn't be dominated like that. This one, we can slightly protect them.
Yeah. I think they're all technically brilliant players. And look, you just have to look at the Man City team to look at players like Bernardo Silva, Phil Foden, who are still very, very slim, small guys, and they've been able to bulk up in their own sort of physique, and not really take away from their technical ability. So I'm not too worried about like you say, they're under 20. They will naturally get stronger. they will naturally grow up to the men's game, as you could almost say. I just wanted to touch on the point about bravery. I completely agree. I thought we were very brave, and I don't get me wrong. I do like the way we play, like that. And from 15 minutes onwards, I don't actually think we had to be too brave. I just think we had to be patient. We didn't really have to go into midfield. City sort of took about 5 yards off their press and let us have it around the back. But that is one of the most open Man City teams you'll ever see. Like, our first goal sort of came from us moving it from right to left at the back, then back round from left to right. And then we sort of got around them. Like, there's no sort of danger going round teams. The danger is when you play into their midfield, because they can go direct at goal. If you lose the ball out wide in the corners, like, you can sort of set up in a shape and defend that. But I think we just needed composure and patience, and we showed it for that goal. And Matip, first of all, the sort of angle he creates, but Carvalho, I want to see him get into those positions more.
That's his game. That's his game.
Because when we signed him, it was like this guy sort of Dele Alli, Frank Lampard-esque, just goes into spots and scores goals. And we haven't really had players like that. So I was like, oh, this is pretty unique. So I'm happy. Like, he didn't really move much in the box. He just found a spot.
It was quite funny because you know how they tried to do analysis on him, right? And I can't remember, was it Jamie Carragher? So they tried to highlight him and they thought they're going to show some brilliant movement in and out and then get away. Nothing. He ended up saying he doesn't do very much, but it's just sometimes not doing so much is the most dangerous thing, because you can get a defender who's panicking and trying to cover spaces where he thinks you may run into. But if you just stand there, you know, it is a kind of an art. And obviously,
we spent a whole World Cup seeing Messi do exactly that.
Yeah.
And just ghosting into places. Sometimes when a cross is coming in, the defender is automatically like ball watching, because they're like, right, I've got to defend my spot. I've got to make sure the ball doesn't go through me. So while they're trying to keep an eye on Carvalho, while that ball's coming forward, defenders are getting sucked to goal. And sometimes the best place to score goals are from like 8 to 12 yards, just on like hovering on the edge. Let everyone else around you move and just pick up the space that remains and trust the ball to come to you. So I think like it is fairly smart, and sometimes some players just have it. And he's one guy that seems to get into positions, and I feel like he will score. I don't think he'll become someone that scores 20, 30 goals a season, but he'll get 10, 15 a year if he keeps doing that.
Do you think? Yeah, I was just on the Carvalho point, I think he's going to be a player, maybe not now through the Jota and Diaz injuries, but I thought prior to them, certainly the Diaz injuries, he'll be a player that maybe hasn't shown enough in the time that he's been given this season. And I thought he would maybe struggle, certainly in the early parts of his Liverpool career, to really nail down a position in this team. I think and what happens then is you fall victim to being played out of position and moved around everywhere, and you spend so much time trying to find your feet. Maybe he should just look at what he did to get that goal and think back to his Fulham days, you know, where he was playing with Mitrovic, and often he was like a bit of a shadow. You know, everyone's drawn to Mitrovic, and he was able to just float around, run off him, run beyond him, you know, and get into areas.
But that's to Klopp. That's for Klopp to find a position from the camp. And I know at the moment we haven't got much choice but to play him out on that left. He doesn't look comfortable there. Sometimes you can see him sort of puff out his cheeks, like when he's having to receive the ball, tie up against fullbacks, whatnot, you know. And sometimes he's thinking, and then he's inadvertently sort of attracted towards the center, like in the areas that he's used to being playing. Maybe we need to find a different position for him. Maybe, you know, something like the Bobby Firmino. When we've been recently playing Firmino and Nunez, so Firmino's been dropping kind of centrally and whatnot, and then ghosting in, like the Firmino goal against Leeds, the equalizer. Was it Newcastle? The equalizer. You know what I'm talking about. That is Fabio Carvalho's role as well going forward. At the moment, it's a case of make do with. Do
you think, if we look at that as a front three, Carvalho, Nunez, Salah, I would argue the best way to get the best out of all of them is to sort of play Carvalho in a false nine role and have Salah and Nunez wide of him and do what Firmino does. Or do you
Again,
think
it's the strength thing. Again, it's the strength thing. It's the Premier League's full of brutes that can play as well, not only brutes. So while in the Championship, if you could have played that, he's quick and smart enough to get away from the brutes, so to speak. The Premier League is a different kettle of fish where the brutes a lot of them can play as well and think ahead, think faster, which is fine, which is no problem. He'll get used to it. He'll acclimatize. It's just so unfortunate. And this is why I was thinking, lads, watching Ox's second half performance in that role, he's different. He's wiser. He's stronger. He's played there. He knows the Premier League. I just thought we could have started him rather than Carvalho. But look, we got into 1-1. Got a super chat that I'm going to read out. Yo, what's good? Bro, yeah, you're good. We're good. Season greetings to you all. He says, hope you're all good. Thoughts on Gomez? You missed the start of the show, bro. He's back to his usual self. Shit, basically. Phillips was decent. Fab looked good. Do we think Klopp has any idea how to use Carvalho? We just literally went through that, my man. He's obviously not a winger. Yeah, look, we literally spent a few minutes on that situation. Even though he scored the equalizer, he was pretty much anonymous for the rest of the game. And we do all agree to a man that he needs to be found a position that he's more comfortable in. Now, I know that sounds a bit, no, he needs to acclimatize to the team and the way we play. No, it doesn't always work like that. You know, you buy a player and you've seen a player play in a performance and a team where he's excelled. You try to utilize those skills into your team. So you have to, especially a young player like that. We went in 1-1. I couldn't believe it was 1-1. We had a couple of chances. Don't know if you want to talk about them because we're going to get into the chances in the second half. But even in the first half, Nunez is free in a very similar situation that we're going to come on to the second half where he's free and he just drags a shot wide. Haaland misses 2-3 gilt-edged chances on the other side, but obviously nothing's made of it. Just bear that in mind. The focus is on Nunez from the first 45 minutes already. Don't forget, Haaland's missed 2 gilt-edged open chances. Anyway, I tweeted, stay in this, Reds, because I think substitutions could make a difference here. Because I thought he's not going to make as many different changes as we will. They score 10 seconds into the second half. They didn't stay in there, Holmes. Not much could be done about the goal. I guess there's a mix-up in midfield where I don't know, was it Thiago or Ox nearly falls over the ball?
I think Thiago just boots it onto a player. There was a couple ricochets, but there was still so much. Yeah.
I mean, you know, it falls to the player who I can't remember the player who switches it over to Mahrez. Mahrez done all game, but one sweet touch, and he's capable of doing that. Cuts inside, and there's not a lot anyone else can do in that situation, right? Or is there? Your reaction?
To an extent, I still feel like he sold Robertson a bit of a hot dog. I feel like Robertson,
it's too easy. You think it was too easy? Yeah?
I do feel like it might. Like it's Mahrez. You know, he wants to come in on that left foot, so don't just go for the dummy because like it was obviously like what he wanted to do. I feel like Robertson, if he wanted to, could have got out to him, or at least couldn't have dived in. Because he sort of just opened it up. It was a brilliant touch. Don't get me wrong. Touch and finish. Excellent, right? Mahrez, like, I think we've seen, like, the sort of tech level of North Africans in the World Cup. And he's just another example. Silky smooth. But you expect Robertson, with the experience he has, to sort of get out to him and sort of make it harder. And, yeah, like Solly Kong just said, cover that cut inside. I'd rather he takes it on his right foot and tries a shot from a tougher angle.
Yeah, play the percentages. You're saying, like, don't let him do the easy thing that comes naturally to him. Make him do something he doesn't want to do, and you've got more chance of, you know, I get it. Yeah, maybe. Cav, do you agree with that?
Perhaps Robertson was just caught cold. It was literally the first minute of the half, but again, because he's Robertson. If that was a Ramsey or a I don't know, someone else, another youngster, an Owen Beck, whatever, I'd maybe be like, fair enough, they were a bit naive to it. But Robertson, how many times has he come up against Mahrez? You know what he wants to do. So, sort of hold him to a higher standard.
He had a far, but I mean, he dealt with Mahrez very well. It's just that pretty much that was a decisive. Caught us cold, Cav. After we've discussed the pressing and City could have blown us away in the first 15, 20 minutes. The goals were shocking from a defensive point of view in the end. And this was another one, wasn't it? Just caught us cold, I think. You're right, Omar. We just weren't settled, we weren't organised, we weren't fresh mentally, physically. Quick switch of play and Mahrez. I mean, sometimes you've got to hold your hands up. I think that's, for me, one of those ones I'm holding my hand up. Or are you with Ohms and saying,
Yeah, no, look, Robbo made the mistake in not being tight enough to Mahrez in the first instant. You know, I know it's difficult because you squeeze in that side of the pitch and you do need to come over and, add the pressure on. But I think once that ball's played, over the top, you've got enough time to sort of get over and make sure you read the flight of the ball well enough. He conceded a similar goal in the game we played against AC Milan, I think, wasn't it? Was it Salamanca's?
Salamanca's,
yeah, scored a very similar goal where
pretty much,
ball's played over the top of him. He's not lost the flight of it. He's just misjudged it. And the guys took it down and took it. I mean, that touch from Mahrez, sometimes you do just have to say that is exceptional. Mahrez,
nice.
he's not been in form this season. Guardiola's not really been selecting him, but he is probably one of the best in the world when it comes to that first touch from a ball flighted in the air from so many yards. He's exceptional at it, but it weren't just a good touch. It was a touch and out his feet in one motion. I think at that point,
it's one of those touches where the second one, your brain, your body, everything's in sync.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He had a picture in his mind and it played out perfectly. His first touch wasn't just the control, it was the set for the shot as well. So it's exceptional skill. And we are probably being quite critical on Robbo, but he lost the flight of the ball. And Ohms is right. At that point, when you've lost the flight of the ball, just get tight to the man. Just get tight. Put him under pressure. I know he's a skillful player, but he has got to take it down, control it, decide what he's got to do. At least put him under pressure to make him, maybe make a mistake or, whatever. So it's a bit critical, but it's one of them goals where I'm just going to accept its exceptional skill. And quite out the blue, let's face it, Man City don't play too many of them long range, cross-field passes. They'll usually get it down and pass it around and be a bit more intricate and try to build up to the edge of the box. So it maybe did just catch him off guard. And I'm not going to be overly critical on that. Just one of them moments, I guess, pure quality.
Heads go down for me anyway. I was like, the worst possible start, Ohms. But we respond in the best possible way again. Fantastic play from Ox. He just showed me a few glimpses, and I know we've slaughtered Ox in the last couple of weeks. We have. Yeah, I know.
He's bringing you back in, Grizz.
No. He's not. He's finished at Liverpool Football Club long term. But what I'm saying is just give us another couple of months while Jota and Diaz come back. Do you know what I mean? I'm begging you and Naby to just make us reminisce the good times that we had with you guys. Like, leave on a high. Like, don't leave with a whimper and we're moaning and groaning about you and saying, get out. Just show us. Naby had good moments in his career, in a Liverpool career, and Ox most certainly had. Give us a couple more until we bring Jota and Diaz back. Because, look, we might touch upon sort of what we need to do in the transfer market, but it's very unrealistic that we go in and buy 2-3 players to cover Jota and Diaz's position. We're going to rely on the likes of Ox. He just showed me glimpses, Ohms. Brilliant turn, outside of the foot pass to Nunez, and absolute. we're going to talk about the positives and the negatives. Brilliant, scintillating Nunez at his finest. The defenders are panicking. Like, if another 5 yards, I think the defender would have fallen over. That's how much he was panicking and stressed about this run. I'm not ready to give him full credit that he knew where Salah was. But at the end of the day, very effective, quick, and we get the goal, and it's 2-2, and suddenly we're thinking, we could do something here.
Yeah, I mean, I tweeted it. As long as Nunez is on the pitch, you're always in a game. That doesn't mean you're going to win the game, but you're always in with a chance because the guy, and I know he'll get slandered for like his misses and whatever, but like the guy time and time again goes and goes and goes and creates chance for himself and chance after chance. And yeah, he misses chances, but boy, he creates stuff out the blue. Like goalkeepers, for one, don't come out to get balls like that Ox one because they know Nunez is an absolute steam train. So they're back on their line. And his pace is frightening. And yeah, look, he sort of fizzed it into Salah, and Salah actually does well to sort of sort his feet out.
Salah does brilliantly just to calm that pass down because it was a bit of a. Do you know what we described as a Lovren-esque moment, right? That is one of the most Nunez type situations you're ever likely to find. Blistering pace on the outside, tears the defender apart, and then just drills it at his teammate when he's expecting the teammate to just have the most impeccable control and to calm the play down. And that's what Mo done. Mo taps it in. I thought Mo was very disappointing today. Mo let me down. I didn't think Mo was at his best. I thought Mo gave the ball away a couple of times with unnecessary things. Could have done a bit more, maybe. But I guess we're on Nunez. Look, we're on Nunez chat. And we'll get on to Nunez, the miss as well, because we'll talk about their goal. But that was probably the high point of Nunez today, wasn't it?
Yeah. Look, I love Nunez. I think this guy, he's going to score tons and tons of goals for us, right? It is obvious he needs to work on his finishing. But I would be so much more worried if he was just ghosting about and not creating any chances for himself and not even getting into positions to score. Because you've seen it before. Like, if we all pan our heads back 10, 11 years ago when Suarez first came to the club, we had these same problems with him. Suarez creating chance after chance for himself, but was hitting the crossbar, hitting the post, putting it wide, easy chances. Like, oh, is it ever going to click? You forget this guy is 23, right? He's raw. He's a bit chaotic. You don't know what his next move is, but he's exhilarating. He's frightening. He's blockbuster, and he gets you off your feet every time. And he puts the fear of God in defenders. Trust me, because when you go side by side with him, there is no way you're catching him. So yeah, I took more, and I might get slandered for this, but I took more pros out of that game for Nunez than cons.
Controversial. Brilliant segue into Cav. I tell you what, wow, that final statement may have caught a few off guard here. Guys, Omar is saying he took more pros than cons out of that performance today. Let us know in the chat if you guys agree, disagree, what your thoughts were, because we're going to focus on Nunez for the next. Actually, before we do, we will focus on Nunez. 2-2. We think we're back in it. And again, Cav, we give the most stupidest goal away again. We fall asleep on the corner. They take a short corner, one of those ones where we didn't even notice they touched it. And then to give a man of Kevin De Bruyne's class, let's just call it a spade, a man of his technique and class to put in a ball like that, it's criminal. And then to be overloaded with all their centre-backs at the back is more criminality or crimes being committed. Just a shambles of a goal from a defensive point of view all round, isn't it?
Yeah.
How angry was you, Cav? Because I got a feeling you was really angry at this point. I'm just guessing, but tell me otherwise.
No, I was fuming because Kevin De Bruyne is quite clearly the biggest chance creator for Manchester City, right? It's
Premier League.
Yeah, in Premier League, it's obvious, right, what this guy does. We all know about him. He's the best, one of the best, if not the best midfielder in the world, okay? The guy got 2 assists today. He created 5 clear-cut chances, and he put in 16 crosses. Like, seriously, it's like, do something about him. Do you know what I mean? And this is where I think Liverpool have got caught out so often this season, especially, is like, for all our issues, right, on the pitch, tactically at times, we're fine. But then it's these moments where you just need the players to react to what's happening in front of them. And it's a corner, right? Manchester City, when you see Kevin De Bruyne running over there and you see a guy going with him, Henderson should be barking behind him going, someone else come. Someone else come. Because
Henderson has the only what's the word? Defense I'm going to give to Henderson is he's just come on at that point. So maybe there's a bit of communication issues because he's just come on at that point. But you're right. As soon as you see KDB with someone else, go over there. Do not let them have a 2-against-1. Exactly. You're dead if you do.
Because in the build-up to the game, right, you're going to analyse how Man City take corners and you're going to set up, you know, whether you do zone or man mark, you know, you're going to block players, you're going to have dedicated man to attack the ball. You do all that in your preparation for the game. But at times, there are situations like this one where, as a player on the pitch, you just need to react and deal with it, right? And I just think this is one of their moments where you see Kevin De Bruyne going over there, you see another Man City going over, you instantly got a 2v1. Right. So instantly what they can do is what they did do is play a short pass, return it, and he's crossing from a better angle. I'm sorry, you don't give Kevin De Bruyne an opportunity to cross from a better angle. Like, the guy is an absolute expert on crossing a football. And Salah kind of gets over there, but it's all too late, you know. Someone should have been there with him to just stop the cross, stop it at source. Don't let it come in. Do anything but let that ball come in. And look, it's very smart. They overloaded the back post. I think a lot of our guys were just not really set. You know, a lot of the Liverpool players were sort of in a bit of a near the centre circle, too many players together, didn't really have a line as such to attack the ball. Laporte blocks off Nat Phillips, who is the guy that's closest to the cross, and also
we saw that afterwards, don't we? Do we think that would have been picked up by VAR? Do you think, or it was not enough?
I think it's too soft, to be honest. It's just really smart. I think if he'd have had his hands out and pushed him or whatever, then possibly. But he's just kind of stood there and leaned slightly. I'd give credit to Laporte for actually, you know, blocking off the run and using his body wise enough. And look, Ake tucks it away. If it weren't Ake, there was another Man City player behind him. So pretty, like you say, shambles, because as individuals, as players, you just need to be awake. You just need to be alert. You're playing Manchester City. It's a 90-minute game. You need to be switched on for that entire 90 minutes. And if you do take a second off, they kill you. You know, this is high-level football. And that's what happened, you know. I don't know if I'm being too harsh here. I don't know what you guys thought, but I looked at Kelleher's attempted save and thought, could he have done something there? Just looked a bit, don't know, just looked how it, maybe it's because how it went in and the angle of the ball, you know, for off Hake's head into the back of the net.
I think it was too close. I think it was, I think the angle, the delivery had pace, and the delivery was perfect. It was one of those ones where you need to get ahead to it, and it's got the pace and velocity and the angle to do the rest, you see. So he didn't have to do, and then he kind of puts his excessive force on it as well, and it was a wet surface.
Yeah, sort of skidded on.
Yeah, kind of skidded on. Yeah, it was too close for Kelleher to do anything. I don't think he could have done much at all. But the rest of the defenders and everything, the line, the communication, you're right, midfielders. It's one of those criticisms that we've got, that we're too quiet, Cav. Mm-hmm. We're too quiet. You could tell no one was barking orders. There's no Milner on the pitch.
Yeah.
It's Gomez on that side by then. Henderson's just come on, so he's not been on enough to start shouting.
Yeah.
And the rest are just
zombies. I'd even say, you know, if you're the closest man to the corner, which is Henderson, just go and do something a bit, you know, shithousery, shall I say. You know, go over and just stand. Do you know what players do? They go over and they get within 3 yards of the corner flag, so that you'd see Kevin De Bruyne in this situation going, get back. But what that's doing is buying your teammates time to go get organised. Yeah. But Liverpool, they just want to play this.
We have
perfect,
zero dark
nice
hearts.
Game.
Zero. Yep.
Yeah.
Only Milner and Thiago have got dark hearts in our team. Only Milner and Henderson. I don't think they're dark. I think they're obvious.
Yeah.
Do you know the difference, lads?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
it's not very sly.
I think Nunez would have a bit to him, but he is a bit of a. He could get red.
These are the fine margins that they just help over the course of a game. You've seen it, Kevin De Bruyne. You know, towards the end of the game, he just runs over to the throw-in and just kicks it away. Yeah, you know, these. It might sound a bit overcritical, but in this, you know, standard of football, these things do help. You know, you've just got to. you just got to be switched on, and you've just got to do what you can. And sometimes it is a bit, you know, what's the word? I'm trying to find an alternative word for shithousery, but you know, that kind of thing. Slow the game down when you need to. Go boot the ball away. Go get in someone's face. Just do what it takes to help your team out slightly.
It's gamesmanship, isn't it?
Yeah, gamesmanship. Exactly. Yeah, that's a good way of describing it. Yeah.
Go on, uni boy.
Yeah, thank you. Me and my big words. Yeah, I completely agree. Like when you're playing at such a level, at the top level,
they've got it.
It's all about
they play all the tick-a-tacker they want. They do everything that, look at the triangles they're creating. Look at the technical side of Pep. Pep's always attacking. But fucking hell, does it? His team's the biggest gamesmanship, shithousery, call it you want, dark arts, call it what you want. His Barcelona team, his Bayern team, and now his Man City team.
Every team nasty. You don't like unlikable. If you played against them, you wouldn't like them. I certainly don't like them. Rodri, Bernardo, Silva, I don't know them as persons, but from what I see from them, I think they're the worst people in the world. I'm sure they're actually quite nice people, but yeah, like, and we want that back, and maybe we're missing at the back this sort of leadership and presence of Alisson and Van Dijk. Maybe they I feel like they at times can carry that, but yeah, it is too nice, and it is soft, and we've seen it all season. We've just been too soft and too weak in places where we've notoriously been hard to break down and hard. We've like in the seasons we've been successful, we've kept so many clean sheets just by having that sort of dog in us. And now that dog's gone, it's yeah, we need to get it back somehow, because it matters. And people will say it's not football, but it is football. Football isn't just, you don't play football in one way, one beautiful, poetic, aesthetically pleasing way. You play football in every single way you can to get a result. The aim of football is to win. So you want to win no matter how you get that win. And I feel like that's the mentality from all the top teams. And to be successful, how do you think Real Madrid have won, 5 Champions Leagues in the last 7-8 years? They've had the nastiest people in their team. Casemiro, Ramos, all these guys. Like, you hate them. Mm-hmm. You hate them at times.
But you love them if they're on your side, yeah?
Exactly.
Guys, there's still over 400 of you in here, but not even remotely close to enough likes. Smash a like for us. I know we're probably all feeling frustrated and down, and some are even feeling angry and very angry and want to smash up and sack the coach and everyone. But as I said, we'll discuss again and against Villa, and we see how we feel. Yo, what's good? Says Nunez needs to fix up. I have to be honest. Can't be missing 4 big chances. He needs to be more than just quick. We're going to slightly focus on Nunez now. Cav, I'll start off with you. Omar's a big fan. Took more pros than cons out of today's performances. I'm where I was with Nunez before we signed him, and people laughed at me, and I'm with him still now, where now I still think I've still got the same criticisms, the same opinion, everything the same. I haven't changed, but I'm being proved right. And I hate being proved right in this situation, because I want him to just prove me wrong and be an absolute success and the perfect fit. I said it's going to take time. I said it's going to cause issues for other people, but for us as well. There was times where his overall game wasn't good. It wasn't. I'm going to speak how I feel, and I think it wasn't good. I'm not buying this. I don't want to talk about him being a chance magnet, chaos and all that. He's going to have to assume more than that tag, especially with Jota and Diaz. He's going to have to mature very quickly. He's at Liverpool Football Club now. Fortunately or unfortunately, well, it should be fortunately in his case. He's playing for one of the biggest clubs in the world. He's going to have to learn more of the game that we require from him very quickly. That's just my opinion.
When you say very quickly, it's interesting because I often think what would happen if Nunez wasn't in this team. And quite honestly, I think we would have nowhere near the amount of chances that we do. So you're dead right. He needs to learn quickly. But at the same time, he only needs to learn quickly because we haven't really got many other options and other than Salah, goal scorers in this team. Really, we should maybe give him a season. And then after that, see how he goes. I think the thing with Nunez is he is a chance magnet. He's obviously got blistering pace. And if a team plays a high line like Man City does, he's going to get so many chances. At times, I thought he was pretty poor at playing on the shoulder because he was caught offside a couple of times. I know we didn't have VAR today, but I think a couple of the chances he did get would have just been flagged offside. I think he needs to time his run better. He needs to bend his run better. You know, you look at somebody like Jamie Vardy, who was an expert of being on the shoulder of the defence, timing his run, making sure he got touched just before the keeper, all them kind of things. So he needs to be better in that kind of sense. In terms of his chances today, I'm hopeful that he is going to improve on them chances when he becomes more comfortable at Liverpool. And what you've often heard it said with strikers is what they try and do is actually slow the game down when they get in front of goal and they become cold, right? And all of that happens when you're comfortable. You have to be comfortable in front of goal. And I think like Nunez at the moment, he knows that he's so vital for Liverpool. He knows that almost every chance he gets is so vital because we do create a lot of chances, but often you can watch the game and feel like we're not. You know, we kind of score goals, but quite often I watch Liverpool for like a half and think, where are we going to score here? You know, he's obviously new to the team. He's new to the tactics. He doesn't speak the language. You know, he's still getting to know the players around him. I'm just hopeful that, you know, in time when he gets a bit more comfortable here, you know, he's just going to become a bit colder in front of goal and just tuck him away because, look, he made the runs. He gets in the position. You know, he had 3 one-on-ones, I believe, today. And every single time, his body positioning was wrong and he hits it with power across the goal. That's not what you do in that position. Do you know what I mean? You should really be making an angle of, you know, your run should be at an angle whereby you dictate where you want to put the ball. He's almost
what we described about Mahrez.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Mahrez takes a touch whereby it's on a stronger foot. He can either curl it or he can whip it back in the near post. Nunez always runs at the goal almost too quick, and he just has to react when he's there. You know, and he allows the keeper to kind of dictate where he's going to put it by his body positioning. He closes off the front post. He comes out and makes himself big and tightens the angle for the far post. Nunez needs to be better at. He's got the pace. Get your first touch right, and then adjust your body positioning so you approach the goal, whereby you give yourself options as to how you want to finish. And sometimes, like today, he just needs to pass it into the net. You know, I think he tries too hard to really rifle it into the corner. You know, I call it the Aguero finish. He was an expert at giving it a little bit of lift, a little bit of pace, and just smashing into the bottom corner all the time. And he just needs to improve, quite simply. You know, he's going to get goals. He's going to create chaos. But he just needs to improve on that finishing because, you know, these are crucial moments. Today, he was the guy that had the chances to score the goals, to put us through and give us a really strong chance of winning the trophy. I'm just hopeful we don't have this conversation again when we play Real Madrid or, you know, we're fighting teams in the FA Cup and then challenging for the top 4 because he is going to be so crucial for us. You know, he's going to be so key, you know, to getting them. If he puts them goals away, we can have a successful season because we will create the chances.
So after what I've said about him and what Cav said about him, I want to come back to you because you said you take more pros than cons after today's game. And I understand that. I get that. Maybe I'm being a bit reactionary. I get it. He's getting into chance situations. But can I put to you guys that he's not going to play this kind of high line every week? Then what will he do? How does he need to improve his game against a low block, which we're going to face 75% of the time in the Premier League? So, yeah, I'm with you guys today. No problem. You guys are taking more pros than cons out of today's game. Fine. I'll take a back seat and I'll say, yeah, you're right. But then I'm going to come back with, he's not going to play this card because they were brave. Look, the only reason we look like scoring and never out of it is because they didn't want to defend. They don't care about, they want to keep attacking us and kill off with the 4th goal. So therefore it looked like we had a chance. If they just sat off like every other team would have, it would have had a total different feel to the game. And it would have possibly had a total different feel about how Nunez performed. Because I thought his game was poor. That's what I'm saying, Oms. So if he plays against a back line that's going to drop, what does he need to do, in your opinion?
I think we saw it in the last game before the break when we played Southampton, who played a low block, and he scored 2 goals. And he was a box threat. I'm not worried about whether we play against a low block or a high line. Personally, I think his movement, for me, if I'm a manager, first, if I'm the people around him, right, you've got the manager and you've got the players. If I'm a manager, I'd much rather a striker come to me knowing how to move in and around the box when there is a low block. Personally, I feel like he's got great sort of movement, sharp burst that can get in front of a man, and then playing on the shoulder when there is a high line. I think he's excellent at that, like he showed today, and he has shown. I'd rather someone come in with that sort of skill set and then help them refine their shooting than want someone who doesn't really know how to play against a high line, doesn't really know how to play against a low block, and has okay shooting, but doesn't really get the chance to show off their shooting ability. I'd much rather that as a player, especially for the way we play, especially for the likes of Trent, Thiago, who as soon as they get that ball, their first thought is, how the hell do I get that ball 30, 40 yards up the pitch and create a chance? He's an absolute dream for them. Him and Salah are absolute dreams for them. And Mane, especially early on in Mane's career, was an absolute dream for them. Where how many times have we lauded Trent for just playing a 40, 50-yard ball out to sort of Mane, where the ball is amazing, but Mane makes that run. And it's such a rare sort of skill set that he has. And I'm willing to be patient with him just for the fact that I know strikers historically have been able to improve their shooting as they've matured, as they've got more used to a system. And for me, again, I'll touch on it. The perfect example is Suarez, where it took him 1.5 years to sort of bed in. And he sort of came with a similar reputation, bit of a maverick as well. But as soon as it clicked. And I genuinely wouldn't be surprised if we go to Aston Villa, and it's an Unai Emery Aston Villa, so they will be hard to play against. But I wouldn't be surprised if he comes out of that game with 2 goals. It's just the player he is. So I'm willing to be patient with someone like him. He gives it his all. You know that he's going to try again for this team. And for me, I sort of commend that. So I'm happy to give him time. I'm happy to reserve judgment for him for probably for a season at least. And I still think he'll have a good sort of year for us. I still think he'll sort of score 20 goals in all comps at least. But yeah, I'm willing to be patient for him. Like, I know people talk about the price tag. Can he control the price tag? Look, we paid it as an investment. And I think he will, over the years, sort of show that investment to be worth it. And look, there were some performances on that pitch which we might touch on, which you look at people and you think, do they really care? Like, with Nunez, he's always going to care and he's always going to try. And for me, I can only give someone like that, especially at his sort of tender age, the patience that they deserve.
Yeah, no, very well said. I actually agree with everything that you've said. Just wanted to play devil's advocate for a few minutes still. But I meant some of the things I've said. Yeah, go on, Cav, sorry.
Can I just ask a question? And it might be a segue. Who knows? Are we maybe just focusing so much on Nunez because he is our striker, but also because we see that there's not a lot of goals elsewhere in this team, Yes. And I know that's been the case for a long time, and we've had success in that. We've not had particularly goal-scoring midfielders, and now without a Diaz and a Jota, there is so much focus on Nunez. And when we see these chances being squandered, we're concerned. It comes from a place of concern that, if he's missing 3 chances in a game, well, we've probably not scored then, have we? Does it come from that? And I say it's a segue because you mentioned Salah earlier, and although he gets a goal today, for me, Nunez puts in a performance where he's affected the game more. I'm not sure what you guys think on that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think there is way too much focus on Nunez because of the reasons that you've said, because of our lack of options, because of our lack of goal threat. I thought if Mo, because this goes back to the poll I done, and it was based on the conversation where we had a few days ago. I think it was on RedFellas. What do we focus on now in January, for example? And this is the reason why I changed my mind and favoured, if the option is one of a midfielder and attacker, you'd like to think there's two, or one of each, sorry. But if there was an option, I'd go for the attacker. And this is the reason why, because if you're taking Nunez wide, I don't think he's comfortable in a Liverpool formation out wide. And then if Mo is your only goal threat and he's having an off day like today, then I don't know where we're going to get a goal getter from. Enough goals. There's not enough goals in the team, because we forget Jota was a goal machine. Diaz chipped in. And on top of that, we've got No, Origi and Minamino, who scored vital goals for us last season. Carvalho scored today, fair enough. He scored one in pre-season, fair enough. But can we really see enough goal threats in our team? And then as a result of that, all the onus is on Nunez, because he's the big main striker, and that's added pressure. And you could see that when he missed the chance, he was looking over to the bench and frustrated with himself. And you can imagine Klopp saying, "Don't worry, don't worry, don't worry." But that's going to build. That's going to build. And this is why I was gutted about the Jota news, because I said it at the start of the season. Jota's going to be the reason why Nunez becomes a permanent fixture and a settled fixture, because Jota was going to be that man. And then as soon as Jota was out, the pressure all turned on Nunez because of the big price and whatnot. But I'm with Holmes. I think he's going to come good. We're going to have to stick in there. We've got no choice. But it's that thing, innit? What do we do in January? Because if Bobby, let's say, calf strain, and this is what's going to happen with Bobby now. He's at that age. He's played that much football. He's going to get strains and aches and pains. He's in that category, guys. What are we doing? Are we still adamant that it's a midfielder that we want at all costs? If there was a choice of one, I'm putting you in a hard situation, because Naby and Ox, can they stay fit for a month? Because 2 months, because goals win you games.
Yeah, it's. I would probably go with just based on this season. Not considering the sort
Go
of
ahead, mate.
effects.
Go ahead. I've said it many times. Clip up what you want, mate. He will come good. He's already scored 9 goals or something.
Yeah. Just based off this season and the state of the squad, it's clear that we need an attacker more than a midfielder. I think in the long run, especially with the likes of Josh and Diaz coming back,
for sure,
midfield. But I think with the state of the season and the pressure that is on Nunez and Salah's used to that pressure, but is Nunez used to that pressure? We don't know. And then you've got Carvalho really sort of the next in line. Because Firmino, can he keep fit? Because Firmino, to me, he's still sort of the glue to that front line. Like people forget he's actually had a really good season this season. He's just not been able to stay fit. So. Yeah, I'm with you, Grizz. I would say attacker as of now.
I think the midfield thing's maybe a bit of PTSD. Like, we've got only Arthur Mello, who is Milner after today, unfortunately, is the only sort of injured midfielders, and it's the fact that they're all available now, but we don't really trust they're going to be available for very long because of the fact that they're so injury prone. But we have to assess the situation now, and the situation is that we actually have more forwards out, than we do midfielders.
It's mad. It's driving me mad, Cav. I don't know what. I every morning I've done a poll, right, and it's like it was 65%. So I'll just quickly, guys, very quickly. Sorry, Cav. I'm just because it's driving me so mad, Cav. I can't be bothered to share the screen. So I done a poll, and it was. It's nearly 6,500 votes. 65% said midfielder, 35% said forward. And then I said, I keep changing my mind every day. I actually went forward in the end because, Jota and Diaz, again, the situations and the kind of injuries that they've had, there's no guarantee they won't break down again. They're going to need time to rebuild that fitness, the strength, the what's the word, the dynamism that they both need and at their best. I don't know what you guys think, man. I'm changing my mind every day. And I think it's a decision that is going to be crucial for our top four chances. That's how important I think it is.
Yeah, I'm leaning more towards a forward now for the reasons that you guys have just said. I think the forward line was Carvalho, Nunez, and Salah, and that's not bad. Don't get me wrong, but although Carvalho scored today, I don't see him as a guy that really is going to influence games. To be honest with you, he might get the odd goal, but I don't look at him as a real goal threat. Or someone that's going to get assists or whatever. It's kind of more just if it falls to him and it's the good chance, then maybe he'll tuck it away. But I don't see him actively, going out and making a difference. Nunez will get goals, but this guy plays at 100 mile an hour every game. I'm a bit concerned that this guy's going to break down. To be honest, he doesn't seem to have that, control in his game. He's either sprinting one direction or sprinting in the other, so we have to be careful with him. I know Salah is unique, but he's going to have to play, if we get past Real Madrid, Champions League, followed by Premier League games. If we go through in the FA Cup, then semi-final, hopefully a final in that. That's a lot to ask even on Salah. And maybe, we've seen a performance today where, in my opinion, he goes missing at times. He's a guy that's really just playing in moments. And I feel like Salah's got so much more to offer. I feel like he can get involved in build-up, more and, be involved in, a full 90-minute game, not just, getting in on crucial chances every so often. But maybe he's looking at it going, well, look, I'm the main man here. I'm the highest earner. I'm playing every single minute. I'm just going to conserve myself slightly and play a bit smart. This is a long season. I don't know. I'd be concerned if that's how he's thinking, but you could justify it considering there's not really an option to him on the right wing. So, yeah, the midfield has always been a problem, and it's been the biggest problem this season. But I think at this point in time, actually, we're probably one more injury away from, in a forward from this just being an absolute disaster again, to be honest.
Well, this is my point to people that were saying, oh, you're mad if you think the forward situation is the problem, because despite us talking about the deficiencies of our midfield in terms of pace and power and dynamism and whatever that we've said and whatever you guys have said in the chat that have watched us and listened to us, and we all kind of agree, we're literally a hamstring away from having Mohamed Salah as our only goal threat, or vice versa. Mohamed Salah's hamstring, because they're both the type of players, and God forbid nothing happens to them, then you're just literally with one goal scorer and a Bobby Firmino who, despite having a streaky run of goals, is not a proven goal scorer. Whereas we can bear a couple of injuries in midfield because of the numbers, not the quality. I agree, not the strength and what we need and the pace and the power that we need, but in sheer numbers wise, guys, that's the one that's worrying for me.
Would a good sort of happy medium then be a attacking midfielder, a goal scoring midfielder and a chance creator? I'm just going to throw a name out there, and it's probably totally unrealistic, but could you get like a Maddison? Some people say he doesn't fit the style and stuff, but could you? Leicester, got financial fair play issues at the minute. Could you maybe price someone like that out? Would that maybe, he's a midfielder, so then you've only got to get two other guys in there as opposed to three, but he also offers that sort of goal threat and that, creating chances. Is that maybe
to me
where would we look?
To me, I rate James Maddison, and I would actually love him at the club, but I don't think I feel like we've got loads of players sort of in that sort of area, the likes of Elliot, Carvalho, Firmino, Ox, Keita. They're all sort of, I get the goal threat thing, but again, a lot of his goal threat sort of comes from range. He's not a sort of box threat. I feel like we need a box threat. But I'm struggling to think of someone that we can get.
I've got only one realistic and doable name in my head, and it's not, and it would be not a long term. It would be not a short term. It would be a long term buy at the same time, and that's the fella that we saw in the World Cup for Ghana, Mohamed Kudus. He's shown that at our ground he played up front and was a threat. He's shown for Ajax he can be on the wing. He's shown for Ghana he can play as the position that Cav's alluding to in terms of a 10 or an 8. He literally solves, I think, a lot of our problems. He wouldn't be too expensive. He's at the right age. I just think he's durable. He's strong. Everything about him just says, go and fucking do it. In January, guys, it's driving me mad because he covers all those positions that we've discussed.
It makes sense. He'd be what 30, 40 million, whatever, and you can see the talent there. I would love that personally.
And don't get me wrong, this doesn't mean we've suddenly decided to give Naby a new contract and Milner's going to be renewed, and we're relying on Elliott and Jones next season. No, we are still saying, or I'm still saying, absolutely get a minimum of 2 central midfielders in the summer. And I'm not talking squad fillers. I'm talking first choice that walk into our team, into our midfield. But I just think right now, and in January, like, I don't know. Maybe I'll change my mind tomorrow and think, no, we need legs in midfield, and then the rest will follow suit.
Sorry, go on, Cav, go on.
Sorry, I was just going to add to the Kudus point. He ticks so many boxes, doesn't he? The style of play that he is. Someone's put there that he's energetic, he's press resistant. He's a goal threat. He's he can play numerous positions. So he's actually, he can only solve one problem on one day, but actually from game day to game day, we can maybe utilize that versatility to solve, where we might have other injuries crop up throughout the season. And he's also future planning because he's 22 and he's got quality, and he's proven in the Champions League as well that he's got quality. He's obviously seen his quality.
And he's got that little, like, what was the comments he made, Omar, about Neymar or something? Or was it something?
He's got a bit of bite to him, I guess.
He's got a bit of ambition, arrogance, stroke confidence.
Yeah, self-belief.
Yeah.
And that's great for the future as well. The only negative might be the price tag to try and get him from Ajax at this point in time. The winter window's quite difficult to obviously get players to teams' top stars, but I would prefer that over. There's been a suggestion maybe like a Zaha from Palace and stuff, but they're kind of like, they only play left wing and they only have a certain style of play, And I quite like the fact that Kudus, at this point in time where Liverpool are going through a bit of a transition, we do need to plug quite a lot of gaps around, but you can only do so much right now. That I think he's actually a guy that you could utilize for the remainder of the season and beyond. And then when you get to the summer, you can start to fill them other holes in the squad.
Shane McGee, thank you for the super chat. He says, with all the Jude and Enzo talk, do we actually bring someone in during January due to the potential figures we have to spend in the summer? Yeah, I genuinely believe we bring in someone, Shane. I'm 95% sure we bring in someone in January. 90 to 95% certain. I'm just deliberating in our minds and in our heads and all of our ideas and heads and brains, trying to rack our brains to see if the priority should be an attacker now or a midfielder now, because of the injuries to Jota and Diaz. And now Bobby picking up a calf strain. Apparently it's not serious, but it's a calf strain and that can be aggravated. And the way Diaz plays, the way Nunez plays, it's all about his hamstrings, bro. And he's been missing for a couple of weeks, didn't he, with a hamstring issue. And in a season where it's all about game after game after game after game, like we're playing every 3 days from now on, it's a bit of a tricky one. Klopp has apparently come out and said Ox was supposed to start. So thank you. Me and Klopp are still on the same wavelength. I was thinking, guys, this is why this is football carnage. You know what I mean? High quality insight. Me and Klopp on the same wavelength. Because I was thinking Klopp, like Ox, all week I was thinking Ox has got to start. And he was scheduled to start, but he fell ill 2 days before. So he just recovered from an illness.
That's I think for me, that's quite telling that he actually thinks that Ox is in his plans moving forward. Because if he was ill, if he was due to start, okay, then it's obvious. If he's ill, he's still wanting to get in minutes. He's not said, fine, sit on the bench and we'll use you if we need you, or don't be in the squad if we're led to believe Trent's ill. The same for him. He actually played Carvalho and then brought Carvalho off and brought Ox on. So he's dead keen to get minutes into Ox's legs, which tells you Ox is going to be playing in the future for Liverpool. He's one of the few guys now that we have available for that left wing position. So yeah, maybe that has an impact on January signings as well.
Good point.
It all ties in, but I think what we can take from that is we're going to be seeing Ox, if he's fit, a bit more often now.
I think
I'm okay. Sorry, go on.
We forget last season. I know we're panning back to last season, but last season, up until sort of Diaz came in and Elliott came back from injury, Ox was playing a lot of football for us. And he actually played all right, really. He played well, especially if you pan back to the sort of AFCON period. I think he was our top scorer in January. So there is still sort of a player there. Like I'm with you, Grizz. I don't think he has a future long term at Liverpool, but there's now Klopp is probably saying to him, you've got 4 or 5 months to put yourself, one, in the shop window, and two, sort of back into the hearts of the Liverpool fans and play well. And I feel like Ox is the type of person to sort of buy into that and give his all. So I'm probably, I assume you two are as well, that you're sort of encouraged by, one, his performance and the fact that he is in Klopp's plan still.
Yeah, it's mad. It's mad. I am. Maybe I'm just, as Cav says, just being reeled in. Foolishly, whatever, but I am. I'm far more, sounds crazy, but I'm far more enthused. Okay, not far more, but I'm more enthused than Ox's last hurrah than Naby's, for example. Mm-hmm. And Naby, for me, is the more talented player. But I don't think he's willing to do the hard graft shift what Ox does seemingly feel like, or seemingly looking to be doing, even though he's not got the talent. I think, and I quite like Ox on that wide left, man. Just cut inside and whiz a few shots. Just do so. He's got that. He's still got a shot. Yo, what's good sending a super chat, which is related to what we were just talking. He says, I'm not sure Ajax would be open to selling Kudus in January, though. I believe they would be. They're out of Champions League, right? They didn't qualify, did they? No. I don't know. I think Klopp looking at midfield still over attack. Him testing Ox there tells me that, yeah, that's the point Cav just made as well, that maybe that's an indicator in terms of Ox being played out there. But look, guys, we move on. It's no, it's not full stance, guys. I'm not saying that Ox and Naby can revitalize their Liverpool career. I think, but what they can do is revitalize our season. Mm-hmm. If they just give us something. Do you see the difference? Yeah. The priority is Liverpool win games, and look, as long as they're on the books, we use them where we can. We have to. As I said, disappointment, hurt, all of that, because we're the holders, and it's probably our best chance of a trophy this season at this point. But it was never going to be easy once. It was the first game after the World Cup with all the players coming back. They went stronger than us. Apparently, they've picked up a few injuries as a result. Laporte apparently a few weeks out now with a hamstring. Apparently, Ake struggling with an injury as well. So look, this is what's going to happen. Teams will struggle. Teams will miss out and get injured. Players will get injured, sorry. So yeah, we fight on. We go to Villa. And as I said, as long as we get 3 points against Villa, this won't feel as bad as it feels right now. I'm expecting 3 points, Omar. There's nothing else that will be acceptable.
Yeah, I'm expecting 3 points as well. I think I'm actually happy we played this game and that Villa haven't had a game to play, because look, they'll be coming off a 6-week break. We'll be sort of in a rhythm. So I expect us to start that game fast, strong. I imagine Henderson will come back into the team. Imagine Alisson will. Maybe Trent.
So Klopp's suggested that pretty much everyone will be back, bar the long-term injuries, which is Diego and
Diaz.
So
I expect Alisson, Fabinho, Henderson, Trent really to come back in, and then Van Dijk as well. Sorry, Van Dijk. Big difference at the back. And then it will look a complete different team. And hopefully the boys that have sort of played already can sort of bring that rhythm and tempo we played against City. Because look, if a game's ever going to get you up to speed, it's Man City away. So
that's one way of looking at it.
Yeah.
The only problem is the Charity Shield had an adverse effect. It seems.
Yeah.
Maybe this will have the opposite effect. Sort of.
Yeah.
Not taught a lesson. I wouldn't say we were taught a lesson today. I just thought they were sharper, more intense, more fit, more experienced, more stronger. And I think a few of the lads will have felt that power and energy, and it kind of grown from it. But I've got to shout out Akbar. Big up Akbar. He says, yes, Grizz, El Nino. El Nino was the name of the team I used to coach. Old school Sunday City Airport League. Gaffer. That's me, bruv. How much investment do you think the board will give in January, considering they're looking for further investment in the club? $1 billion question, $1 billion club, mate. we're worth a 4 billion. Everybody wants to know what kind of investment we will be given or needed. Just a ballpark figure plucked out of what I'm anticipating and what I'm kind of hearing. I'm expecting us to spend around £150 million in the next two windows, minimum £150 million in the next two windows. So let's see how that. Clip this up, do what you got to do with it, laugh it off. I've given my opinion. I think we're looking at investment of £150 million into the playing squad in the next two windows.
I think if we want Enzo and Bellingham, we probably go more than that, I assume.
Yeah, I don't look. We done a brilliant show, guys. If you want to catch up with it with Zach Lowy, all things Portugal, knows Portugal and Portugal League back of his hand. Some great insight. We all agreed that there is interest in Enzo, but I struggle to see us getting him and Jude. We may not. We're definitely in for him, despite denials from sort of here. It's pretty much known in Argentina and Portugal that we do want him. But I can't see both of them. That's just an opinion. It's not based on nothing else. But I don't mind as long as we get the right player. And for me, as a personal choice, I'll say it and I'll say it again until we're not linked with him, until we can't get him or until he's signed for anywhere else. And for me, that's Moises Caicedo. So if you guys want to add or subtract anything from what we've discussed in the last couple of minutes. Villa, midfield, investment. Let's finish it up on whatever you guys want to say.
I'll just quickly on the Villa game. I think that's going to be a lot tougher than it might have been earlier in the season. Unai Emery going in there.
Total different game, Cav. I don't share the same confidence as Omar.
Yeah, I think Unai Emery's gone in. He's not had many games, don't get me wrong, but from what he has, done at Villa, they seem to be a bit more switched on at the back now. I know they've still got Mings in there, so anything can happen.
Oh, sorry, guys. I was pouring some sweet chili sauce, and just in case you guys think I was doing something else, like it is.
No, we can see the empty.
I've got to make things clear, Holmes. You know what people, my haters out there. People start clipping.
It's the internet. You got to be careful.
It's the internet. You got to be careful. Make everything clear.
It's after dark with Cav.
Oh shit! It's after that with Cav. Yeah, the less of that.
It's been a while.
I actually went back and saw a clip of it, and
wow.
Yeah.
Where can I tune in?
Oh, I think it's coming back New Year. So
Cav, you've got to send me a link to one.
It's so you. Yeah, can you get him? Like that's so him after a night out. Like that's just so not me. I'm like the community man. That's just so Ohms. Get him involved. Yeah, sorry.
But yeah, look, Villa's gonna be hard, and look, it's Boxing Day. I don't think the players have too much Christmas dinner. They probably won't be stuffed on turkey. But look, new players coming back, whether they've been ill, been at the World Cup, come back off holiday, summer match fit, or what have you. You know, we're expecting to see more of a recognisable lineup from Liverpool. The big boys back, so to speak. Ali and Virgil, obviously key to that. But we can't deny that Liverpool's season up to the World Cup has been so inconsistent. You know, we've had really good performances, you know, mentioned Man City, and we've had terrible performances. So at this point in time, it's very hard to judge what the real Liverpool is, you know, and which Liverpool's going to turn up. And we could have all these big boys back and feel like it's going to be a walk in the park at Villa. We could also turn up and just see what we've seen, you know, against Leeds and Forest and, you know, Fulham. And also we could see a really resurgent Villa side. You know, they're at home. It's Boxing Day. The fans can be quite up for it at Villa Park at times. And under Unai Emery, they've probably got like new hope, so to speak. So I'm a little bit worried, but the main thing is from that game is that, like you guys said, we just get 3 points. That's all that matters now, to be honest. I don't care about performances anymore. Just get the points on the board and get us back into that top 4 position. You know, let's get some momentum. Let's put some form together. So yeah, just my part on that. And then signings wise, I'm still on the Caicedo hype with you, Grizz. I think nothing's changed from that. Whether we get Enzo and Bellingham, there's not been a lot of evidence in recent years to say that we're going to sign 2 absolute guaranteed star boys, you know, at close to 100 million, you know, pounds or euros each. So, you know, whether we get that or not. But I'm at a point actually with this Liverpool side, a bit of acceptance that it is a bit of a transition. And whereas, you know, last summer, maybe the transfer windows before, I was looking for like the top of the top, you know, we've got a perfect starting 11, some good players to back that up. We can now just cherry pick who we want just to really improve on certain positions, when actually now this Liverpool team has got quite a lot of holes in it. We might just have to accept that we're probably not going to get the £100 million players. We might just have to get 2 of the 50 and 60 million pound players, you know. And I'm kind of coming around to the idea, whilst I don't like it, that maybe that might just be a smarter way to move forward and go back to that, getting the people that are about to hit their peak, so to speak.
Anything to add or subtract again?
Nah. Caicedo, Bellingham, Kudus. I'll be a very happy man.
My God. And that's not, and I'm not, guys, I'm not joking. It's I know football isn't as simple as that sometimes, but in this case scenario, I think it's literally as simple as that, guys. Like, I know it's doom and gloom at the moment. It's not like there's a lot of doom and gloom at that moment. But Jude, Caicedo and Kudus, for me, 100, 200 million altogether, probably. And that's you fixed. I honestly think we're good to go next season. I honestly think we're good to go with them 3 signings. Yeah. Just them 3 signings. That's how much they bring to us. Vibrancy, energy, power, pace, youthfulness. Aggression. All 3 of them bring that to the table in abundance.
Yeah. And then suddenly the pressure that Salah has on his shoulders, the pressure that Nunez has, that turns to fun, enjoyment playing for this team again. You know what? If I don't score today, don't worry, the next guy will. And they enjoy it, and momentum builds and feel good factor feels. And, you know, we can build on that momentum. Guys,
let's smash up the like button before you go out. If you haven't liked it, if you've just been engrossed in our chat and you forgot to like it, here's your chance to like it. Need FSG to go out first. Yeah, they'll be gone by the end of the season, 100%. I can guarantee you that. But that's another topic for another day. Today was all about the Carabao Cup. The holders, Liverpool Football Club, have been, I saw headlines of dumped out. You know, we lost by the odd goal in a thriller. 3-2. And yeah, we go to Villa. Villa is massive, huge. We need to start getting back on the winning trail. Is it called winning whatever track?
Yeah, that works. Yeah,
winning track, whatever it is. Hope you've enjoyed the Post Match Khanage. Sorry we couldn't be speaking about a win, but we go again. Have a nice holiday season. Are we going to see each other before? We may not. We probably will. If not, over and out. Take care. Bye-bye.